Top of the Morning.
This is Top of the Morning. I'm Steve Izant. Welcome. And today our focus is on food. So if you're like me, you love to eat. So let's go take a look. Joining us now on Top of the Morning is Karen Campbell. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You have something I think our viewers are really going to be interested in, so go ahead and share with us.
Hi, I'm a caterer. My company is called the Sister Sunday, and what I do is I go to different people's homes and I cater events for them.
Okay.
Or you can call me up and I can design different types of cakes for you. That seems to have been my business lately. It's the cakes. I went to culinary school to cook savory dishes, but I ended up graduating and I do more sweets than I do savory. But yeah, you can cater any type of event anywhere. You can catch me. My website is Sister Sunday. You can also get me at sistersunday@hotmail.com, as well as you can reach me by cell phone.
Well, what are some of the kind of cakes that you do?
All types of cake. I just did a birthday party with tiramisu cake, as well as a strawberry layered cake.
Okay.
It's a strawberry cream cake, 4 different layers, stunning cake.
What about carrot cakes?
Yes, definitely carrot cakes.
Oh, carrot cakes, okay.
I love to do cakes that are in season. A lot of people like to have summer desserts because the berries are ripe during the summertime, but it's better if you try to choose a cake that particular fruit or that particular vegetable is in season, because you get them at their peak. So, say for instance, right now pumpkin is in season, of course. So, to utilize pumpkin, you can use it in a different cheesecake and you can do different types of bars and all types of things. So if you take advantage of stuff that's in season, it will taste a lot better. You don't have to use artificial sweeteners to help bring it out.
Well, that sounds really pretty yummy. Let's talk a little bit about your catering. What are some of the things that you do for catering?
Birthday parties. I also do anniversaries, all types of events. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. If you don't want to cook and you want to hire somebody outside of your home to cook for you, that can be done. We can come and cook inside your place, inside your home, or with off-site facility where you're holding your event. Either way, it's up to you. If you don't want to cook, I'll do the cooking.
And they don't have to do the dishes.
They don't have to do the dishes. We take care of the dishes as well.
What are some of the more popular menu items that are your favorites?
Well, we're out here right now in Baltimore, so seafood is the main thing. Crab cakes are definitely probably one of my biggest sellers. Crab cake, and on the other end of it is lasagna. For some reason, lasagna always takes precedent over, a lot of different items. But definitely for the area, it's the seafood.
Seafood, that makes a lot of sense. What about barbecue? Do you do any barbecue items?
Yes. I love the barbecue.
I do too.
So definitely, we can cater events that, for barbecues. A lot of people don't want to go through the hassle of the whole setup. They're not sure of how to regulate the temperature as well.
Okay.
So they'll hire our company to come in and do the barbecuing for them.
Do you have any secret sauce for your barbecue?
Oh, of course, but it's a secret.
It is a secret. I should have known that. All right, so our viewers, if they don't want to cook, you'll do it?
Yes, I will.
You'll either come to their place and cook, or you'll come up with a menu that you can actually bring there?
Yes, we can. I mean, we create menus all the time. We try to create it for the particular event that you're having. So, if it's a birthday party for a kid, we do, versions of different, hamburgers or what have you, that will appeal to your particular guest.
Chicken tenders,
everything.
Like that. Okay, all right. So you can do thematic things. If someone calls you and says, I'm having a Halloween party, you can come up with some kind of a Halloween type of thing.
Yes, we will try to create some ghoulish looking food so you can, your kids can have a blast.
Well, we've talked a little bit about your catering operation. We've talked about the cakes. You didn't bring any cakes, of course.
No, I didn't bring any
okay,
cakes.
next show the cakes. But what else should we know about you that our viewers haven't heard about already?
Well, I guess you should also know that I am very passionate about cooking seasonally.
Okay.
And the reason why is because you can find the product at their peak during the season. Like right now we have pumpkins, pomegranates are in season. You're going to find an abundance of apples in season. This is the time to take advantage of the products that are in season, because you can always, I'm a big canner. Right now, because apples are in season, I make apple butter, I make apple sauces, I can, slices of apple, so I can use them. So instead of going to the grocery store and buying pie filling, which I'm not a fan of,
right,
you can actually make your own and, store it. You can come to it anytime. That way, if you're craving that apple pie, you can make that apple pie, and that apple is at its peak. So when you have it, it's like you're having it when it's in season.
Now, for our viewers, they're probably thinking, well, how hard is it to make an apple pie filling? Is it fairly simple? I mean, can you just give us a quick recipe for our viewers that would like to do this themselves?
As far as the pie filling, you find yourself some great apples. You can get some McIntosh apples, some Granny Smith apples, slice them up, put them in a pan with some sugar, a little cinnamon, a little bit of salt, saute them up, and can it. That is it. That is all to apple pie filling.
When you say can, it has to be in some kind of a glass jar?
Yeah, you can put it in a glass jar. That way you can store it for longer periods of time. You can also make it and store it in your refrigerator. It'll last in your refrigerator for probably about 2 months.
Okay. We've got a helicopter passing overhead for our viewers. They're just wondering what the heck's going on. It's pretty hard on the ship. We'll let them pass over, and then pumpkin. Now that they've passed over, how about a pumpkin pie filling recipe for our viewers? We're thinking about Thanksgiving coming up.
Yes, a lot of us will buy the pie filling because the pumpkin seems like such a daunting kind of, we just normally take them out for Halloween.
Right.
But if you just cut it up and roast it, don't even take the skin, just take the filling out of it and roast it. That way, all you have to do is, scoop out the filling, add the little bit of mace, a little bit of sugar, cinnamon, a little nutmeg.
Let me go back and interrupt for a second there. When you say roasted, you're talking about like slicing the pumpkin up and sticking it in the oven?
Stick it in the oven, yes.
Okay, and you use the bake function or you use the broil function?
The bake function. You bake it at 400 degrees.
Okay.
You pull it out, toss it a little bit, and a little bit of oil to make sure it doesn't stick.
Okay.
Put it in the oven, roast it at 400 degrees for about 35-40 minutes.
All right.
Take it out, and as soon as you take it out, you let it cool down a little bit because you're going to mix the eggs in it in order to make the custard filling. But yeah, mixed in a couple of eggs with the roasted pumpkin, some spices, cinnamon, mace, your fall seasonings, and a little bit of evaporated milk, and done.
Sounds like an easy recipe to do. We've got to take a short break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Back to Top of the Morning. This segment is about food. You love food, I love food, and we have with us this morning Karen Campbell, who really loves food. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Karen, we know we're going to talk about a lot of fun things this morning, but let's first of all talk about one of your recent catering events. What's been one of the most interesting or fun events that you've had a chance to cater?
Actually, one of the most fun I've had was a birthday party for a 6-year-old boy, and it was taking place in the park. It was an outside barbecue. So, and we ended up having, you know, all these different games, the teacup games. We set up different games in different stations for them. They even had different sections where they had eating contests. Kids, you know, they had, you know, actually there was a salad eating contest. You know, we tried to throw in a little healthy, but there was also
salad
the cake
eating.
eating. There also was the cake eating contest,
all right.
which the kid absolutely adored. So, you know, it was interesting for me because it was a barbecue situation. It was the first party that I've ever barbecued, you know, myself. You know, I've done it myself personally, but for an event as for kids, you know. So it was interesting, you know, making my own hot dogs. And I made my own hot dogs for this particular event. So it was exciting to be able to experiment with the different things that I learned to make for myself, like chicken sausages and hot dogs and stuff like that. So for me, it was as exciting for the kids to have the different events, the different station setup that they could play at, but it was also a time for me to be a little creative in the kitchen with what I was, you know, experiment a little bit with different grilling techniques and stuff. So that for me was thrilling.
Sounds like those kids were pretty lucky then. What kind of barbecue?
Yeah, they had a good time.
Yeah.
It was great. You know, I did different types of burgers for the adults. We did blue cheeseburgers with grilled mushroom, portobello mushrooms. You know, for the kids, like I said, we did the chicken sauces, the chicken and apple sauces, as well as, you know, the hot dogs that we made and little mini burgers on brioche bread. So definitely, it was good time had by all.
I think even the adults would have had a good time.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take a short break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
USS Constellation. There's a grand lady in Baltimore who has taken her rightful place as the Inner Harbor's crown jewel in the heart of the Chesapeake Bay. Launched in 1854 as the last all-sail ship designed and built for the United States Navy, Constellation's century of service embraced the ages of sail, steam, gas, diesel, and nuclear power. Imagine that, launched in 1854 and still afloat. Even more exciting, visitors can come aboard Constellation and explore to their heart's content. On board Constellation, history comes alive as visitors touch, feel, and experience what life was like for sailors during the Civil War. Just bring your imagination. Constellation is the second of 3 U.S. Navy vessels to carry the same venerable name. The first, the frigate Constellation, was built right here in Baltimore at Harris Creek and launched in 1797. Known as the Yankee Racehorse, the frigate Constellation was one of the first 6 ships built by the United States Navy. The ship you see here, the sloop of war Constellation, was built at the Gosport Navy Yard in Portsmouth, Virginia, and launched in 1854. A newspaper account from the day of her launch reported that there were 8 pieces of the original frigate Constellation contained within her timbers. The third Constellation was the aircraft carrier CV-64. Launched in 1960, she served until 2003. President Ronald Reagan called her America's flagship. But it's the sloop of war Constellation that's here in Baltimore today, and the Chesapeake Bay has always been central to her story.
Throughout her century of service, Constellation served in and out of the Chesapeake Bay. It was kind of like coming home every time she returned to the Chesapeake Bay. She was created here at Gosport Navy Yard. And throughout her career, she came to Annapolis. She spent many years there. She sailed to Philadelphia. She sailed up and down the bay several times. Every time that she returned, it was like a homecoming for her.
Hope you had a nice tour.
Hi, and welcome back to Top of the Morning. I'm here with Andrew Young on the deck of the Constellation. Andrew's been welcoming visitors on board this morning, giving some tours. I think, was it you that fired the cannon earlier this morning, or who was that?
It was not me. It was Paul O'Neill.
Okay.
But yeah, I occasionally help out doing that, putting out the Bravo flags.
Well, tell us a little bit about that cannon.
Okay, well, it's a 20-pound Parrott rifle. They would use it to fire at ships that were behind them. And it was rifle, which means there were little grooves in the barrel of the gun. So it would give the ball a spin, make it more accurate. Well, now,
do you still use black powder today to fire this? Or
we
what propels the gun?
We use black powder. It costs about $5 for the museum to use it every time we fire it. So if anybody wants to donate to us, we really appreciate it.
But now they don't allow you to aim for anything over there on
No, we just fire powder. So just a big cloud of smoke comes out whenever we fire it. But there's actually a funny story. The first time we used that, we fired about 2 pounds of powder, and the guy at the hotel across the harbor came over and asked us why we were breaking his windows. So.
And how many pounds do you fire now?
About a quarter of a pound.
About a quarter of a pound. Okay. Well, on the Constellation here, you've got a great tour. Tell us a little bit about what people will see if they take the tour.
Okay. Well, we do demonstrations usually every hour about the guns, about the capstan, which is the winch they use to move things on the ship.
Okay.
We allow people to explore the gun deck, which is where all the cannons are, the captain's cabin, the berth deck, where all the hammocks are, and we're basically available all day to answer any questions people have. So.
And it's we're talking about fall right now. What are the current hours if people want to come down here and see the Constellation?
10 to 5:30 is the last time we allow people on board. But if people are already on board, they can stay till 6.
Okay. And the Constellation, tell us a little bit about the history. Some people get this confused with some other famous ships.
Right. Well, a lot of people know about the frigate Constellation, which was built in Baltimore in the 1790s. This is not the frigate Constellation. That was dismantled in 1854 when the ship was built, the ship. This is a sloop of war, which means it has 1 gun deck instead of 2, like a frigate. And there's also an aircraft carrier called Constellation, but that's totally separate from this.
Now, this particular Constellation then, did it see any action during the Civil War?
During the Civil War, not really. Before the Civil War, it was part of the African Squadron, which means it patrolled the coast of Africa, interdicting the international slave trade, along with the British, the French, pretty much any European power. And it captured 3 slave ships, including one that had about 700 slaves on it.
Fantastic story. Did they ever have any real naval battles when they fired the cannons? Do you know if their cannons were ever fired in anger, as they say?
Well, when they were capturing the slave ships, they would fire warning shots and shots that tried to disable the masts. Because if you're going after a slave ship, you don't want to hit the lower decks because the slaves might be down there.
Right.
So they try to hit the mast to disable it.
Interesting, interesting. You mentioned earlier the capstan. Tell us a little bit more of that. Is that the thing that people see in movies sometimes where the guys are going round and round in a circle, raising the anchor?
Yeah, if you watch Pirates of the Caribbean,
right,
you'll see it. It's basically a giant winch that people go around and around using human power. And they use that to lift anything heavy onto the ship, like guns, heavy provisions, the anchor, so.
Now, last night I happened to see the film Master and Commander, which
of course
has a lot of action on it.
Right.
One of the things that I found interesting was that the captain's cabin, they would, of course, have their dinners there, the senior officers, and you saw them drinking sherry. But when it came time for battle, that cabin was disassembled because they had to fight from there. Is there a similar thing here, or is this more of a permanent cabin?
Yes. The windows, the glass windows, they're not actually windows. They actually can be used as gun ports. So the doors to the captain's cabin can be taken off, the guns can be rolled in, the glass little windows can be taken off, and you can actually fire guns inside the captain's cabin.
Interesting. Andrew, we've talked a lot about the ship, but tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come to this job, and what's it like working here on the Constellation?
Okay, well, right now I'm going to graduate school at UMBC, and I was just looking for a sort of a part-time job that has to do with history, because that's my major in graduate school. So they really like to hire college students because they find them very young, very enthusiastic, willing to work hard, and if you're willing to do that, this is a great job.
So is this a summer job for you, or will you stay on part-time during the winter? Or?
I'm staying on part-time during the fall and winter.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And history, tell us a little bit more about a history major. How did you happen to choose history versus something else, nuclear physics, for example?
Well, I'm not good at math, so nuclear physics is kind of out.
All right, same with me. Okay.
Yeah, but I've always been interested in history, about the past, learning about it, interpreting it, so ever since really I was in middle school, honestly. So this is a great job for it because we're dealing with history every day, so if you're interested.
Any particular areas, American history or certain eras? Or?
My master's thesis is going to be on the Civil War, specifically the Baltimore riots of 1861.
Interesting. And how much research have you done so far? What can you share with us about the Baltimore riots? Because I know people vaguely know about that, but probably a lot of our viewers don't know the details.
Right. Well, April 19th, 1861, Fort Sumter had obviously just been fired on. Lincoln called down the troops to defend Washington. A lot of Baltimoreans did not like that. They did not like the idea of Northerners marching through their city. They thought it might have been an invasion. So when Massachusetts troops came to the Pleasant Street station and had to march down Pratt Street to where the Sports Legends Museum is now, Cannon Station. A lot of Baltimoreans came out, rioted, threw bricks at them, shot at them, and the Massachusetts troops fired back.
Oh my goodness! And how many? Were there many deaths? Any deaths? Casualties?
There were about 3 Massachusetts soldiers killed, and I'm not sure exactly how many Baltimoreans were killed, but I believe it's somewhere around 15.
Interesting. Well, Maryland really was sort of caught between the South and the North.
Very divided. Yeah.
Very divided. I remember. What about Lincoln for his inaugural? Didn't he have to sort of sneak through town on his way to Washington?
Yeah, there was a lot of political cartoons of Lincoln sort of looking like a fraidy cat in like a big long coat, trying to disguise himself. So yeah, they really criticized him for that because Lincoln and his administration thought he might be assassinated if he spoke in Baltimore. So they snuck through, did not get out, just got out of Baltimore really quickly on the way to Washington. But a lot of people in Maryland and around the country did not like that.
Interesting. And once you graduate, what do you hope to do with your degree?
Continue on in museums. I've worked in museums the past 4 or 5 years, and it's something I'm really passionate about. So once I get my master's, I think I'm going to apply to higher up level, more like administrative stuff, curations, stuff like that.
Okay. And coming back now to sort of full circle to the Constellation,
Okay.
if one of our viewers next summer wanted a summer job, where should they look for an ad, or how would they find out about how to interview for something like this?
Well, our website, historicships.org, has, I believe, a link for jobs. Also, I think we advertise on Craigslist. So if you type in, usually like museum, under Baltimore jobs, you can be able to find it. And I think those are the 2 best options. I would just go to the website and see what's available.
Andrew, thanks for the interview.
You're welcome.
It's been interesting hearing about your own personal career objectives and about the ship here. Any last thoughts before we go to break? Say goodbye to you.
Nothing, just if you're interested in ship history and it's a beautiful day out, or even if it's raining on the Constellation, there's history.
Well, Andrew, thank you very much for being on Top of the Morning. That's this segment. Please stay with us, though. We'll be right back.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck with your master's thesis.
Thank you. And welcome aboard. Top of the Morning. Thanks for coming.
Well, that's our show this morning. We're currently back now on the deck of the Constellation in beautiful downtown Baltimore. We had a chef that made me hungry.
Thank you.
And, it was great having you on as well. So that's our show for this morning. We're on the deck of the Constellation. I'm Steve Izan, and this is Top of the Morning. Thanks for watching us. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.